Yo, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to episode 53 of the Casual Weebs podcast. As always, we had an outstanding week in anime. Blue Box, well, leaving the episode off of one crazy cliffhanger. I'm really excited for the next episode. I don't think anything's gonna happen though because we got a couple more, and I don't think the confession's gonna happen till the last episode, but it made for a really funny moment. And then of course you had Solo Leveling, oh, cliffhangers? You think that's a
Oh
cliffhanger?
man.
Hold my beer. The way they ended that episode with an S rank just getting fucking decapitated, that's pretty interesting. They're pretty, you know what I mean? It really kind of set the stage of, hey, this is Jeju Island. You know what I mean? Like this isn't the place where you come have a picnic, chill with the boys. This is the place that kills S ranks, and they made that pretty clear. So we're gonna get into that as well, and kind of get into some of the spoilers that the anime itself gave us because of the opening. We are also getting into Sakamoto Days, which also delivered an awesome episode. Seeing Shin reunite with his somewhat father was really wholesome and really cool, and we looked and saw more about Slur, probably the most interesting, worst villain names there is. But yeah, it was a pretty interesting week.
Yeah, dude, everything was hitting. You're right. There's like a lot of cliffhangers in action, like
Mm-hmm.
ton of questions to be answered. But my friend was actually texting me like, just like hyping up Solo Leveling and stuff, saying we was hyped for the episode. And I'm like, yeah, just wait till you watch it. And then as soon as he texted me, I knew. Definitely ending on a crazy note.
Yeah, should we just get right into Solo Leveling then and just talk all about that?
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Dude, I am so excited for this. First of all, we saw Jinwoo go against the Japanese guildmaster, like the number one S rank in Japan, and just absolutely give him the work. Like we talk about, like it's cool about solo leveling because you're not like guessing about who's stronger than who, because they literally have like a ranking system. But for the S ranks, it kind of gets kind of like blurry of who's better than the other person. It's kind of just ranked in the letters, S, A, B, C, etc. So seeing Jinwoo go against this very strong S rank and kind of like toy with him a little bit was actually insane. It just shows just how strong he is and just how further ahead of all the other Korean S ranks he really is. It's insane.
Yeah, it's a super good point. And like, I think it was really understated because like all the other Japanese S ranks that we're watching were like, oh, it's really impressive that he can dodge these punches and like, he's doing a good job. But like before they started the fight, he said you have to go all out. And
Yeah.
Ryuji says like in the middle of the fight, I'll just crush him. I'll just kill him. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like he was obviously going pretty hard, if not all out. And yeah, Jinwoo pretty much put him in his place, grabbing his hand, and he's literally hit him with the best one-liner. He's just like, yeah, if it was your wrist, it would be game over. This fight would be done. So it was really sick to see him kind of like bring it to that guild master.
Well, no. I think you might have forgotten because it was an episode in between, like it was gaps between two episodes. But the whole thing about it is, if he grabbed the wrist, that would have been over. Based by the rules, if you're able to like grab a body part like that, that's the end of the match.
Oh
So
yeah,
Jinwoo grabbed the
yeah.
hand to keep the fight going, because then it would have ended. If he grabbed the wrist, it would have just straight up ended. So that's why he did that, to keep the spar going, so he wouldn't have
So
been crowned
true.
the victor. So he literally could have won, you know what I mean? But he decided not to, so they can keep fighting, which is a total power move. Just being like, I could end you right
Total
here.
flex.
You know what I mean? Like, you're trying to take out my eye. I'm going to catch this. I'm going to catch it this way so we can keep going, because I could have beaten you there, but I'm not done playing with my food. And the other impressive thing is that the one guy even said it, he's not even a fucking combat, hunter. He literally is a mage who summons, you know what I mean? So he's outclassing somebody when he's not even in that class. You know what I mean? Imagine if he went full strength with his
Yeah.
summons and bringing Tank and Iron and everyone out. Like who was it? Who was it? Iron and Tusk into the mix? Forget it. Igris. Like, it's just over. Like, it's just no competition. If Jinwoo actually used all of his power instead of pretty much using his pinky, I mean, like, that's the extent of his power with just combat-wise, it wouldn't have even been close. The fact that he's that far ahead is disgusting. I think he could have fought 20 of those guys and so on. Like, it's insane.
Dude, such a good point. I forgot about that. That's like an even bigger flex.
Yeah.
The way he grabbed his hand. But you're right. Like when you really think about it, and I think Ryuji even says it like, oh, he's a mage class. Like, what a joke. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? He's already so strong and like physically gifted. And we've heard that a couple times this season,
Mm-hmm.
but he didn't even summon anything. You got to think like that whole room full of S ranks would definitely be up against it with some of the like levels of his shadows, like Igris and
Mm-hmm.
Tusk and stuff. And you saw how like the A and B ranks face the ogres. Like, I think they would be pressed out. It definitely made Jinwoo look like one of the strongest, if not the strongest guy in the room.
In the room, I think in the world. I mean, like,
Yeah, true.
it's insane how like it was so funny too how like the one guy was like really scared. You knew he was gonna like turn something on to make him an absolute beast, or he wouldn't be there. And the way Jinwoo just like stepped in, saved the girl, and then threw him on the ground, I'm like, oh, like he's a mage. Like he just handled
Yeah.
him with ease. Like that's insane. Like the way he just gave the work would have been insane. I really wanted him to like show the shadows because I wanted everyone to be like what the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, dude, that would have been awesome.
I wanted to see like the full reactions of the full flex. But what's unfortunate though is that you brought up before we started recording, there was apparently a scene cut out where the Japanese guildmaster went back to his room and was like, "Yo, like that guy's terrifying," and they just cut that out.
Yeah, and like I've heard this, just reading through like social media and Reddit and stuff,
Mhm.
like I guess to keep up the pace and keep the storyline moving, they've cut out some of the stuff from the manhwa, but it did a good job of showing like kind of that power difference between Ryuji and Jinwoo. Like there
Yeah,
was an element of fear and like with Jinwoo, like he knew he was kind of holding back and toying with him, and he definitely felt like weakness. And
yeah.
like, it's maybe only a couple pages or like a short monologue, but they did cut some of that out. But I think it would have like really emphasized how big the power difference was there, and like Ryuji was definitely self-conscious about it. And we didn't get to see that in this episode.
Especially because they spent time building up, what is his name, Ryuji, about being this like very strong guy that even all the S ranks in Korea fear. You know what I mean? We're like, wow, like he's like even the commissioner, like that old dude who's just like beefed. I love that guy. I want to see him fight at some point. Like,
Yeah, dude, he's
yeah,
so sick.
exactly. Have that last hurrah or something. But like the way that they show such respect to him, and the fact that like he had this monologue that wasn't shown, where he was just like, yeah, this guy, like scares me. He's that strong. Like Jinwoo's like built different. I mean, like that's insane. The fact too he was able to like put soldiers in their shadows without them knowing is crazy.
Yeah, that was really cool. Like I didn't notice it the first time, but that's kind of what he does when
Mm-hmm.
he assigns like his shadows to watch over his sister and like his homeboy, his younger brother. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I forget his name. Dude's already a side character. Already forget his name.
Dude, he's been a side character since day one, man.
Yeah. He kind of like does the same thing with his shadows then, but like now he's using it like tactically, to kind of watch these people and maybe get like info on their skills and whatnot. But I thought that was a really cool move. I didn't really pick that up the first time he used it.
Well, can I drop a little something that we might have already forgotten as well? You know, a little something
Ooh.
here. He actually can teleport and switch with one of his shadows. So this could be the way where he goes to Jeju Island.
Ooh.
He could be
Wow,
using
that's
it.
actually sharp, dude. Very good observation.
He could be using it as like a TP point. You know what I mean? Where like his shadows are there. Like he even said, he's like, I gotta stay home for my mom. My mom just woke up out of a coma after 4 years. Like I can't go to this island. They're very capable. They can do this. You know, whatever. But I'm gonna send some shadows to keep track, to keep tabs, let me know what's going on there. And if I need to come, I switch with one of them. And what's up, bitches? You know what I mean? Let's just wipe out an island. But the thing I want to talk about with that is that the opening thing is, like I said, we're doing a video about our top 10 anime openings, which is so goddamn difficult. The thing is, the music is great, but the visuals are such a pain sometimes because they spoil shit. You know what I mean? Whenever you have an
Yeah.
opening, since episode 1 of that season, it's going to show you scenes throughout that entire season. So it, in a way, spoils a lot of moments. And one of the things that kind of sucks is that this entire season, we've been seeing at the end of the opening, Jinwoo fighting somebody, which is apparently probably going to be that ant that evolves even more. Because it doesn't look it. It doesn't look the same thing. We have still yet to see that thing in the opening that he's fighting. So I have to assume there's still evolution that's going to be happening with these ants. But he's fighting in the city. So what's going to
Hmm.
happen? I don't think he actually is going to switch with one of his shadows because I think that they're going to lose at Jeju Island. Or I feel like at least that ant in particular is going to escape and make its way to the city where Jinwoo is like, all right, I have to step in. You know what I mean? And I have to fight it. So I'm really interested to see what happens because we know one thing: it's not going to go according to plan. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like the very end of this episode kind of like encapsulated that. It feels like,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Feels like super understated at first because everybody's just wiping out the ants. We
Mm-hmm.
finally get to see the red-haired dude Choi.
Mm-hmm.
He gets to use his sick-ass fire abilities. Very cool, by the way.
Yeah.
But like everything's like, kind of casual. It's like all going to plan, and they make it down to the basement with pretty much ease, but they do make note of like how big the egg is that ant came out of, and they're like, oh, this guy's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it immediately cuts to that hunter getting killed, and like that's the first time you're like, all right, this is Jeju Island. This is why they're on the fourth rate of it. Like they've been unsuccessful 3 times. So
Hmm.
like I definitely think Jinwoo will play a part, and they'll probably need him. As the casualties start piling up, they're gonna need somebody to like be able to take on that top level guy.
Well, of course, because this is giving like massive Hunter x Hunter vibes. I mean, is it not with the Chimera Ant arc? Like,
Dude, literally can't stop thinking about it. You're exactly right, dude. My boy Miriam.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, dude, the second I saw that egg hatch, I'm like, that's Miriam. Like, that's the king. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's no shot. Like,
You definitely make a good point about the openings too. Like
mhm.
I try not to like think too much into it, but now that you're kind of like nearing the end of the season and you're like putting the pieces together, it's like, yes,
Yeah.
definitely makes sense. That's going to be like the main villain and stuff, but it does give you a little bit of a spoiler.
Well, it's crazy because that ant, again, it does not resemble the one in the opening. So is it gonna like evolve even out of its egg? You know what I mean? Is it gonna evolve even further throughout fighting? Like that's gonna be something that's gonna be very interesting to see, like where it becomes. Like I said, the operation could still be a success. It could just be the only one that makes it to the mainland. You know what I mean? So like I don't
True.
we know that he's gonna fight something in the city. That's all we know. We don't know how it happens, how it gets there, was like who dies, who lives. You know what I mean? So like it kind of makes it a little interesting because like, there's still a lot of unknowns, and we can like sit here and like theorize. Which we occasionally do once in a while. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You could say we enjoy doing
Nah.
that.
Yeah, for sure,
Only
dude.
once or twice. But yeah, it's really interesting. So like I'm really interested to see like how that ends up coming to be. And also, since we talk about like Hunter x Hunter and it's giving those vibes, is there going to be a way where some of the hunters that have died in past operations going to resemble some of the ants? Because the cool thing is that you're even saying like this is the fourth operation, right? Things have not been going well, but the thing is that the ants keep evolving, which means that every time they come back with more numbers and stronger S ranks, well, the ants are stronger and have more numbers and have more abilities as well. Well, are they taking some of the abilities from the S ranks that are dying there? You know what I mean? Like, because that was like a Hunter x Hunter kind of like parallel I'm kind of looking at, where it's like we saw people that died to those ants to then be used for evolution, and they were kind of a part of it. And you know what I mean? So it kind of becomes those things where like they keep bringing up that one guy's friend who died there. Well, is we gonna see him in like an ant-like form, and everyone's gonna be like, "Whoa!" You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if we're gonna see that much of like a parallel between solo leveling and Hunter x Hunter with this arc.
That's a really, really interesting theory because like they've definitely hinted at that a couple times, but it would
Mm-hmm.
also draw a good parallel between like a villain or an antagonist and like Jinwoo's ability to like constantly get stronger
Yeah.
versus this juxtaposition with the S ranks that like they're only as good as they're ever going to be. Which
Mm-hmm.
is not to say that they're not strong, but there are other beings out there capable of getting stronger. And
Mm-hmm.
now like you have an antagonist with that same ability. I think that's really accurate because like at the end of the day, if it's coming down to Jinwoo to fight whatever this ant is, and it's obviously evolving. And I think the queen, when it first hatches, said like, go out and continue to get stronger or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
So like it kind of would make sense that, maybe they foreshadowed that a little bit, that he can get stronger. And like, yeah, maybe he's eating these S ranks and like either getting stronger for it or getting powers like from these S ranks. Like I think that would definitely make sense. That's a good theory.
It would be
Got
kind
the
of
man
cool.
cooked.
But like I think what's gonna be really kind of interesting as well is because like we said, where he's gonna end up fighting this ant in like the city or whatever. I think it's not gonna follow the rules of Queen dies, everything dies. You know what I mean? So I could see Jeju
Mm.
Island being a success to kill the Queen, but then that guy's still alive. You know what I mean? Because he transformed it. He was like this grayish. It wasn't like the red of like, the other ants. Kind of like disassociated with the ants, you know what I mean? Kind of standing out as not only is it stronger and has other abilities, but like it's not going to just aimlessly follow the queen like everyone else will. You know what I mean? So that could be an interesting thing where it's like, well, are they gonna have a point where they kill the queen and like, oh, we won, and then that thing's still alive? It's like the fuck you did, and then start ripping people apart. You know what I mean? Or like, there's like a lot of things that we know, but like so much more that we don't know, which is why I'm loving this arc, and I cannot wait to dive more into it, and especially because like, who's going to die? So far we kind of had like a nobody die, where we're like, all right, they're an S rank, they're obviously important, but like it's not like we knew a lot about them. It's not like they've been there since season one. So I'm really interested to see how much do they pull their punches? You know, some animes don't like to kill off main characters, so will they? Will they kill off Choi or some of the other guys? I'm really interested to see that as well.
Yeah, like I don't think they've killed off anybody like too major yet, so
Mm-hmm.
maybe not. But obviously, this is like a precursor to like them running into trouble. Like maybe some people get seriously hurt, or like our main cast gets banged up really bad. But
Yeah.
I don't. I definitely think there will be some casualties. But like, yeah, who would definitely be interesting. It'd be hard to imagine they kill off like a guild master, like the blonde waifu. I can't imagine her dying.
Yeah.
Hunter Cha or whatever her name is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see like who kind of holds up well or who like struggles. Um, and like at what point do they like depend on Jinwoo or like yeah, is it the main ant like making it off the island like the other one did, and going after the people? I could definitely see that too. But you're right, like we've got some theories, but like next episode, I feel like we'll push us in that direction, kind of see where this arc is going to end up.
Yeah, and I definitely think that we're going to see like a lot more S rank style. Like I think they're going to be like, "Yo, feeding Fensry," because we have like 15 of them. You know what I mean? I definitely think we make it off that island with 10 or less. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
do think we're going to see more, but it's just a matter of like anyone important. So like you said, the blonde girl, she's not a guild master, but like she's still very important. I doubt she's going to die. What about the guy with the sideburns? You know what I mean? That's a possibility. You know, there's all these possibilities. I definitely think his friend, the healer, they just are cracking that up. That's something bad's going to happen to him because he wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. He wasn't going to go. He's done with that. There was like the violence. He has a new government job he's going to do. All of a sudden, hey, I can't leave you alone. You know, I got to make sure you're going to stay alive. Bro's just precursor like red flags gonna die. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
dude.
Like it's written on the wall. It's gonna happen. But is it? We don't know what this anime like. What extent does it go with that? But also, I think that the girl who died reminded me so much of like a blue box of Hina. The way Hina was like, "Hey, you're looking at me like 4K. You know, cough it
Yeah,
up."
yeah.
And the way she was like, "I'll heal you, but I want something in return." And he's like, "All right, well, like, what do you want?" And like, I hate that she died before she said it because like she didn't want money. Like, what does she want from this dude? You know what I mean? Like, I was like
Yeah.
interested because it kept being brought up. He's like, "All right, fine, just heal me, like whatever you want." And then, oh, well, she's dead. You know what I mean? It's
And she's gone.
like where'd she go? But
Yeah, like even in that situation, I can't imagine like all of them getting away, especially if it's
yeah.
this, super powerful ant. Like right there, you could see three S ranks getting taken out.
Yeah, well, so far one has, and I can see them using the Japan S ranks to just like kind of be the casualties. But that's what I'm wondering is like any of the Korean S ranks that like we've been following this whole time, are any of them going to be the one that gonna get hit? And I could see them too being like life sustaining injuries or like like life threatening ones, like they're out of combat. You know what I mean? Like someone like loses an arm or something like that, and like all right, they survive, but they can't fight anymore, type of thing. I can see that happening
Yeah,
too.
yeah, definitely. For some reason, I just like literally laughed because they like really hype like these Japanese S ranks up. Are they
Yeah.
on like fraud watch? Are they just fodder? You know what I mean? Like, are these Japanese S ranks gonna be a bunch of frauds? Like, I feel like that would be pretty funny. But yeah, I'm like not really, not really willing to bet on like any of the Korean like main cast. I don't think any of them are gonna die.
Well, I
But
think
like, yeah, maybe like you said, like lose an arm or something at
yeah.
worst.
Well, I think the Japanese S ranks are like really good. The only problem is that their job is attracting the ants, which is attracting the one that's going to kill everybody except for Jinwoo. You know what I mean? So I feel like they
That is fair.
drew the shitty end of the stick, where it's like if it was the Korean ones that were drawing the fire, they'd have the same problem. I think that the Korean ones will just survive or out survive or look better than the Japanese ones because they're fighting the easier opponent, which is ironically the queen compared to this absolute mutant, which is the king. You know?
Yeah, very good point though. I feel like he and like Choi has definitely brought it up a couple times. Like he's shown like anxiety about it. Like maybe he is stronger now than he was back then, but
Mm-hmm.
like they'd probably be in a similar situation. I think you're right.
Yeah, so it's gonna be like really, really interesting to see kind of like how it fully plays out. I really do wonder if his dad kind of plays a bigger part in this. They brought him up, and then we haven't seen shit from him since. And I'm pretty sure they have him in
Hmm.
the end credits, like in the outro, where like it kind of like shows him and he's got the ring. He's got a necklace with his like wedding ring around it. So I wonder if there is gonna be like that's like the season finale where like he kind of like comes back and there's the family reunion. I really that really interests me. Like I feel like that's gonna be like an awesome part of the series.
Yeah, dude, definitely curious. And we talked about it last week. I think like kind of what his dad's role is or involvement, but It would
Mhm.
be sick to see him kind of get like a scene or, maybe a little screen time before the end of the season here. I don't know if we will just because of the like action on Jeju Island, but
Mhm.
it'd definitely be cool to get some more of him.
Yeah, but I can't wait. I'm absolutely loving the series. It's been absolutely incredible, and it's done no wrong in my opinion. I feel like season 2 has been nothing but phenomenal. And yeah, we have what, 3 episodes left? Two
I think so,
episodes?
yeah. Two
'Cause-
or three.
yeah, it's like 13 or 14 episodes. Season 2 is, right?
Yeah, I think 13.
Fuck, I hope for 14, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah,
I'm
true.
down either way. I'm good either way because they've really been absolutely killing it. But should we go to Blue Box or Sakamoto Days?
Dude, honestly, I feel like
See, it's
let's do
tough.
Sakamoto Days.
It's
Yeah,
tough.
right? I feel like this was a really good episode of Sakamoto Days,
Mhm.
maybe the best one yet.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Like, you kind of got a little bit of everything. Like, definitely some more intense action.
Hmm.
I still can't remember this like scientist villain's name, but like Sakamoto really has to start taking him seriously, especially once they get to like the train and everything. Like, you
Yeah.
could see him as his environment changes from just like being in the lab basement versus like out in the public. He definitely gets more serious and like starts taking things, yeah, just like more serious. As obviously you can see like slims down. Definitely
Yeah.
very good episode. And another W for my man Shin. Very cool character.
I love when Sakamoto slims down because I feel like it adds an aspect to the fights where it's like, oh shit, it's serious now. You know what I mean? I feel like that's like a cool thing where it's like, oh, like Sakamoto means business. Bro's looking back at his like peak form, like it's over. You know what I mean? It's kind of that signal where it's like, all right, shit's about to go down. You know what I mean? So like, I
Yeah.
do like how that's a thing in this anime. And yeah, that was so funny when they're like fighting on the train and shit, and the old lady, the door's open, the old lady's right there. He grabs him with one hand and throws him through the door, and he's like, "Ma'am, this is priority seating. He's like, please take a seat." Like,
Yeah. She's like,
no.
"Oh, thank you, honey." Like, and you could see the cracked glass behind her.
And dude, he goes into that room where he threw the guy and just starts beating the ever living shit out of him as the old lady's just sitting there in her seat, just enjoying herself. And it's like, oh my god.
Like the intense like horror looking panels of Sakamoto, and especially at the end, he
Mhm.
like slowly opens the door and it's just like this demon, and the guy's like,
Oh yeah,
shit. Like,
yeah.
dude, I love that about skinny Sakamoto. That he just proceeds to beat the ever loving shit out of this guy.
Yeah, the guy thinks he finally has him, because that's what Sakamoto had to take it serious. Because not only does he have to protect everybody, because that's very important to him, but it's like this guy's refusing to go down. He thinks he has a bunch of finishing blows that he hit him with, but he's like, oh, this guy keeps getting up. So he's like, all right, I got to take him serious, and that kind of like a little Uno reverse card where he's like, oh, I finally got Sakamoto, but Sakamoto runs through the train, runs out the back into this train, and then
Yeah.
opens the door. He's like, what's up, motherfucker? You thought that was it? You thought you're the only immortal one around here? Like, good one, good one, and then just beats the shit out of him. That was awesome. That was absolutely insane. Destroyed like 5 trains. That poor conductor just had to wish for something interesting to happen that day, and now he just completely destroyed a railway. Like, thanks, bud. You got your interesting thing. All right, like the boring days, they're not that bad, but
Yeah,
absolutely,
true that.
yeah, like for real, absolutely insane fight. Though I really, really enjoyed it. And what's funny is that my buddy, on the server, sent a bunch of the manga panels from this fight. I gotta say, I don't think that the anime missed that much in this fight. Like, Hard Boiled was another story. You look at those manga panels, you're like, dude, that fucking looks sick. Anime fumbled. The anime on this one, I feel like it resembled the panels pretty well. Like, I don't know about the actual fight scenes when it comes to how fluid it is, and I knew that was a big problem. But when it comes to like the standstills of the certain scenes, like I thought that they like did a pretty good job. It wasn't like the manga completely blew the anime out of the water like we saw before.
I'm totally with you. I feel like this was like a step up in quality.
Mm-hmm.
I was really enjoying it, and I thought the fight scenes, were very fluid and like I don't know, like you could feel the impact when they're in that tiny little train car and he's like throwing these, huge punches. Definitely like better action and stuff, and even the transition from like how old is Shin? He's a teenager, right? Or is he 24?
He's
He's
24, 25,
One day
something
I'll
around that.
stop calling him a teenager. It's like the third time I've done that. But like every anime character is like 15, right? Yeah.
No, but that's the funny thing is like Sakamoto just finally has it where it's not. They're all like over 18. They're all like reasonably where they should be. You know what I mean? It's not like they're supposed to be like in fucking high school, but no, they're working at a convenience store fighting assassins. You know what I mean?
Teenage hitman, typical anime plot.
Yeah. So
But
good on
yeah, like
Sakamoto for doing that, by the way.
yeah,
Finally.
true. Right?
Mm.
Like the transitions of like adult Shin to like kid Shin when the
Yeah.
scientist stepdad dude was like, following him, stuff like that. I thought was like really well animated. Felt like
Yeah.
this was like a step up, but whole episode I feel like front to back was really really good with that.
Yeah, dude, that's so sweet. Like when they reunite and stuff, and he's like, "He's like, wow, this is really like the Shin from before. Like he's grown up so much." And Shin's just like, "Bro, I can hear you. Like, relax." That was so funny too. At
Yeah,
the very end, we're like, "Oh my god, he's grown up. He's such a handsome young man." Like, dude, that shit had me dying. I forget what exactly was said, but when he came out, he's like, "Hey guys, remember, I can hear your thoughts. Like, knock it off, knock it off." Someone thought something that was like a diss at him, and it was like really really funny. I forget what it was, but it's like you have to like really kind of listen for it to hear it. But that shit was like so funny. It was like something a little bit in the details, but I enjoyed that. That was like really cool.
yeah, always with the excellent comic relief and
Hmm.
like, it was kind of cool to see like, like the scene where they're running. He's like, "Wow, you're using like all your gifts to like the fullest potential." It's like super cool to see, and he's like, I don't think he turns back, but he's like, "Yeah, your research paid off, didn't it? Like
Yeah, that's what it
it was worth
was.
it."
Yeah, that was the scene. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, ah, man. Even though it's like, they're trying not to die and get buried in there, and like Shin's
Hmm.
listening to all these people like ask what's going on, and they're trapped and shit. Like it ended up being a really cool and like wholesome scene for an episode that definitely had a lot of intense stuff. And then obviously you hit that scene where he's like running. Um, I think kind of didn't make sense to me at first. Like he runs into Slur, but like
Yeah.
he's just by himself. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And he just like walks away.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously he could tell Slur was like Sakamoto level, like intensity. Definitely had Shin worrying.
That's insane how like this episode was like so jam packed, had a lot of great scenes and great moments, and it was like kind of in a way a bridge episode to here's introducing the the final boss, like the fight of the season. You know what I mean? Like the like biggest arc we're getting into. Which is what the slur arc. Like, bro, they gotta really rename this guy. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But
the
it's
Slur
like,
arc, dude.
but we're getting into yeah, bro. Like, what else is it? The guy's name is Slur. Like, I don't know. But like, it's like the introduction of him. You know what I mean? It was kind of like in a way, like the whole thing with going back to the lab was just kind of like to introduce him and then to get into that fight. And it seems like we might be teaming up with the Order because they're both after him as well. They both finally caught him on tape. But what's, I guess we gotta kind of have to talk about a little nuclear drama here. Is that we were talking about, Jinwoo's voice actor. Alex was kind of talking about. He's like, hey, like it's kind of fucked up how I've lost certain jobs, certain roles because they really kind of pick people based off of clout. How many Instagram followers I have? We brought that up like what last anime podcast, right? And I'm
Yeah,
like, yeah, like that's fucked. And then I saw at the end of the credits here that Slur is voiced by Vinnie Hacker, which is like a really like internet personality, like really popular internet personality. He's like huge on YouTube, Twitch, not Twitch, I think TikTok, stuff like that. And it's like, dude, was that who he was talking about? I was very shocked to hear that, like, see that name. You know what I mean? But to be fair, like, given the credits here, is that like I've never heard him being in voice acting, which is why I think is like, was he hired just because of clout? Was that like a move that they did? But his voice acting seems solid. You know what I mean? I didn't know. It's not like something I heard. I'm like, oh, that sounds like shit, or that sounds familiar. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, he actually seems like he's doing solid. So I think that that's just really interesting that he got the role, of Slur.
I think it's cool and like I feel like you've seen, well, maybe not everybody, but like the uptick in like pop culture and like
Hmm.
celebrity stuff in the West and like anime and you can just call it like Eastern entertainment. Like they've really kind of like had like a I don't know. Like it's gotten more popular. Like you have like Meg The Stallion dropping like verses about Naruto and stuff like or Gojo. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
some of that stuff has gotten like really popular. So I think it's cool and it'll only like help people find stuff more cuz like if Vinny from TikTok, you're like, "Oh, well what's this anime? Like he's doing voice acting now?" And I'm
Hmm.
with you like kind of did a good job. You know what I mean? Kind
That's
of
what I'm
fit the
saying.
fit the character well. I thought he was good.
Yeah, I think the character design, voice, everything is just awesome. I think that they did a really good job. It's gonna be a really cool arc, and I cannot wait to learn more about this character and to see the actual fight. And like I think we talked about last podcast episode. I don't have a problem if you hire someone that has a lot of clout. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Like it does bring a lot of popularity to the animes. So I'm not gonna lie. I listen to an anime. I'm like, oh my god, is that Alejandro Saab? Like fuck yeah, like that's amazing. You know what I mean? I hear these voices, and I'm like, wow, I know that person. Like that's so cool, and it kind of binds you in another way to that anime. But like it's like make the decision off of talent, and if they made the decision off of Vinny from talent, like oh wow, like we've heard your voice a ton because you're on the internet all the time, like we think you'd be perfect for this. Well then I love the move, you know what I mean? I like that. And also, as long as it's not purely for the clout and they're actually like killing it and doing a great job and they fit the role, awesome. And it seems like for Vinny, that's what they did.
Yeah, no, I definitely think you're spot on. Like he fits very well. It's kind of tough, like, in any form of entertainment or music or art. Like I feel like you do kind of got to play the social media game. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And it's never gonna hurt in business when you have like a ton of followers or like an internet presence. But
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully, you know what I mean? Like the talent does shine through. And for a lot of the like low key indie people, unfortunately, it is a part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You gotta hit the social media grind, and it does suck, but it's another way to get out there and get opportunities. But yeah, Vinny did a good job. I like the pick.
It'll
Very
be cool.
very solid.
Yeah, and it'll be cool to see if it does bring more popularity to Sakamoto Days. You know what I mean? It is on Netflix, which more people have. It could be interesting to see how much of a boom this could have, especially because a lot of the anime people that are really into anime are more critical of Sakamoto Days because of the manga adaptation. You know what I mean? So if it could be reinforced or kind of counteracted with a new audience being brought in, I feel like that could be a very interesting to see how that what that does for the community and what that does for the anime itself.
Yeah, no, you make a really good point there. I think it'll be interesting, especially you make the point about Netflix. Like a lot of people have Netflix, and
Mm-hmm.
anime is becoming a lot bigger part of that. I think Sakamoto Days is a huge move for them. So yeah, it'll definitely. I think we'll see more of it. In more popular titles moving forward, which is cool.
Yeah, it is. And then going back to Sakamoto Days itself too, the whole scene with Shin fighting was sick. That was really cool how that one invisible guy didn't have powers, it was actually his clothes. Which is gonna be interesting to see if there's more higher tech weapons we're gonna see or apparel. You know what I mean? It's not just people with powers, but people who are able to use powers through items. So that's gonna be really cool. But I thought that was interesting. And bro, this sniper guy falling for the no arm thing, like, come on, bro.
Yeah, bro. Dude, he's such a knucklehead. Like
Yeah.
he's a funny character, and like he's obviously come through in the clutch a couple times already, but yeah, that was a pretty low IQ move if he
Wh-
fell for it.
I mean, who knew him and Shin would be the ultimate team up? They fucking kicked ass. That was awesome.
Dude, they killed it. I was dying too. He's like, yeah, and you read my mind perfectly. He's like, dude, I had no idea what you were saying.
And it shows like his mind is like a child's drawing. It was just like so simple, like so like it was like
Stick
stick figures.
figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's spot on, dude. That was awesome. They make a great dynamic too.
But it was really cool seeing like his insane shots, and then Shin was like, "Dude, like you're insane," and like just kind of reinforcing like how he's actually like getting compliments. Because he used to get like shit on, like, "Oh, all you can do is snipe. Like, who cares?" And now he's got people that are like, "Dude, like you're actually insane," and he's actually able to use those abilities and like kick ass. And then his plan worked, even though it was like very interesting the way he conveyed it. I mean, being able to shoot the sprinkler so then Shin was able to see him and then fuck him up. The only thing I thought was really, really funny about that is my man took, what, 5 shots from a sniper and just kept going. Like, he'd get shot in the arm after 9 ricochets and he'd be like, ugh, that sucks. But then keep
What a
fighting.
pain.
And then
Yeah.
Shin just tackles him and he's out cold. You know what I mean? Like, sniper shots? Pfft, wipe that shit off. That's nothing. Getting tackled by Shin? Oh, GG's. Like, bro's out cold. He's like, oh my god, my entire body hurts. And he just was just on the ground unconscious. It's like, really, Shin? Like, that's all you had to do? Like, come on.
Then they bring up like the big banner. It's like the leader throws in the towel. Like didn't get defeated, just gives up pretty much. I thought that was
Yeah.
pretty funny.
That was, but that was an awesome fight. I really enjoyed that one as well. Talk about is I feel like is killing it. Like I said, this episode was phenomenal, and then it was like it was insane. This also a bridge arc for like this insane new arc we're getting into. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it feels like it's. I kind of said this last week too. Like really starting to heat up. We're seeing some of the like major players. Like we met Osaragi and that other dude Shishiba from the Order. We met Slur, like this kind of main villain looking dude. So I think things are definitely going to start moving forward and getting like a little bit more intense. And that's really what this episode felt like. Very, very good stuff.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I cannot wait to see more of the season, and of course, we're getting that double season in a way, or that early season 2. I mean, really, when you have a 2-core season, like 2 parts of season 1, it's like season 1 and season 2 just brought together because there's 2 openings, and that's why I identified different seasons. You know what I mean?
True. If it's got a different opening, like Blue Box, that's a new season. Doesn't matter if it's consecutive or not. It's a new season.
It's a new season. And listen, we are all for it. If you're able to do it with the same level of animation and quality, fuck yeah.
Dude,
um,
hell yeah.
no complaints. But speaking of Blue Box, what an insane episode this week. I find it so funny, first of all, kind of skipping right to the end of that cliffhanger. Everyone there is in the loop, but pretty much the purple hair girl. She's the only one that has no fucking clue what's going on. Because, I mean, first of all, she acts like this game wasn't rigged from day one. The captain, he pulls out this game. You don't think he has all those cards marked? You think that that wasn't on purpose? Like, ironically,
100%.
coincidentally, the second Taiki is like the father or whatever, he's like, "Oh, guys, real quick, let's shuffle it." Like, you don't think he put that card on top? You know what I mean? Like, sweetie, he's way ahead of you. You think you're playing matchmaker here and you're really good? No, the captain of the Batman team is leagues above you. You know what I mean? He's orchestrating this whole thing, and it's funny because Taiki obviously likes Shinatsu. Haru knows that. Um, Chinatsu knows Chinatsu likes him. Her friend that's there too also knows that Chinatsu likes him. I mean, yeah. Hina knows that he likes Chinatsu. Like, everyone knows. Everyone knows is like somewhat of this mixed, fucked up game. Except for the purple hair girl. She's just like totally oblivious. I find that so funny.
And the best part is she thinks she's like on top of it. She's got that like
Mm-hmm.
sly smile half the time. Like, yeah, she thinks she's playing matchmaker and she's like a step ahead. It's like, honey, we're like 20 episodes in. You're way behind. You got some catching up to
Yeah.
do. But it's funny how, yeah, everybody's in the loop. Like, you can kind of see it on Haru's face. Like, everybody knows, like, Taiki likes Shinatsu. It's like just a matter of, is he going to admit it and like give us that confession?
He's
I
getting
don't think,
bailed out.
especially in front of Hina. And I think the one thing that he said first, like, oh, like my parents, like, you love your parents.
Mm-hmm.
And the captain's like, no, obviously romantically. I feel like he's gonna pull some like cop out, like, oh, badminton or whatever. I'm married to the game type comment.
I think Kyo's there, and so's Haru, and I feel like both of them are gonna, or one of them is going to bail him out. Because, like I said, since
Yeah.
everyone there kind of knows in somewhat this, like, all this shit, I feel like they're gonna be like, yo, we can't do this here. Especially, we cannot do this here, you know what I mean? So I feel like that they're just gonna be like, something's gonna happen where they're gonna give him a cop out, you know what I mean? Where it's like, hey, dude, you can back out, you don't have to go through with it, or like change the subject or do some distraction, or I think that that's like the most reasonable what's going to happen. But if we're talking about anime stereotypes of like shit that's very predictable, I feel like the new guy who's just introduced is going to barge in. I feel like that's going to happen because they made it very apparent that he's back now, right, from overseas. The purple hair girl is delusionally thinking that he's Chinatsu's crush, and they've been kind of brought up and kind of intertwined together a lot. So I feel like it's kind of the perfect thing for him to kind of just like barge in and kind of like cause a distraction, and that's what kind of fucks everything up. So then that's going to make it even more chaotic, and I feel like that'd be a great thing to do.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like, I didn't really take him seriously at first, just because I thought it was more of like a plot device to like push Ayame, the purple haired girl, like,
Mm-hmm.
into her like little scheme here. But seeing like some of their interactions, he's definitely around Shinatsu enough to make him like kind of like, yeah, like a romantic interest, or like to throw a wrench in everything. And
Yeah,
obviously, before we got to know Haru,
we thought the same thing.
Taiki was yeah, Taiki was like super self-conscious about it and like worried. So like it'll be interesting to see like how this plays out and if he gets to feels that same way as he did in the beginning of the show.
I think we're just building peak chaos before the confession is what's going to be happening here.
Yeah, honestly, I'm here for it. Like we said that a couple weeks ago, but now it definitely feels like stuff's about to get crazier.
Yeah, it's gonna get absolutely insane before it happens, dude. When the purple girl was like, "Yo, Hina, I got you. I'll help you out," I was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, this is gonna be such a bad idea.
No,
Like,
no,
this is
yeah.
gonna be so awful. This is gonna end so poorly. Like, bro, it's just like everything's leading up to for Hina to get even more hurt. You know what I mean? Like, it's just really, really bad. It's just going to be an absolute mess. It's like we said this like multiple podcast episodes ago. Like, it's going to be a train wreck. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah, like we're here for it, but yeah, everything is like kind of building up to like put Hina in a bad spot.
Mhm.
And like everybody knows, like we already said, like how Taiki and Hina and Shinatsu kind of feel about each other. So like I think they'll do whatever they have to kind of protect Hina, especially Kyo.
Yeah.
But like they're gonna get to a point where like they can't, you know what I mean? And it's just gonna reach that head. And I'm absolutely here for that chaos.
Yeah. Dude, it's gonna be an absolute mess. And it was kind of brought up this episode where it was like, oh, you're an idiot for not making him make a decision. You know what I mean? And when that was kind of brought up, like yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like I feel like she should kind of just be like, yo, Taiki, give me a yes or a no, because like at this point, like it's just she's not putting herself in a good position, especially because like you're interfering, like interfering, like because like there's no good like when you bring it up and you know that Taiki's very much into Chinatsu, and you're like, hey, I want to make my feelings known, so I can say I did everything I could, and that's that. You know what I mean? So I can do something to give myself a chance. Makes perfect sense. But at the same time, here, you're kind of making it where you're either going to be just settling or a rebound. You know what I mean? Where it's like Taiki's gonna ask her out and either get denied, like, okay, well, I have Hina, or just be like, I'm too scared. I guess I'll just date Hina. She's the safe bet, right? She's kind of putting herself in that bad situation. So that's why I feel like she should just kind of be like, yo, dude, just give me a yes or a no, right? Make the decision to be with me without any influence from Chinatsu. You know what I mean? So she's not a rebound. She's not like, oh, I gave up. I'm just gonna settle with Hina. You know what I mean? Like, do you want to be with me or do you not want to be with me? I think she should do that because the longer she just keeps herself in like the oh, I'm an option, I like it's bad things. You know what I mean? It's just gonna be bad for her regardless of what happens, even if he ends up with her.
It doesn't feel like she can keep it up for like too much longer
Yeah.
either with like how many situations we're running into. And I think Taiki's eventually going to come pretty soon to like face his feelings and like either admit it to Chinatsu or to give Hina finally an answer. But I think you're right, like the awkwardness of them being like really close friends and having known each other for a while made it tougher. She didn't want to like ruin their friendship, but at the same
Yeah.
time like she did want to push those feelings and like be more than friends. So definitely a sticky situation, but I think Hina isn't really doing, like you said, doing herself justice and putting her in a situation to like not get hurt if the answer is no, which she probably could have already done.
And the problem is, and the fucked up thing is that the answer is Chinatsu every single time, simply because if Chinatsu asked
And
him out right now, he's saying yes without any moments delay. You know what I mean? It's immediate. Hina already asked him out, and he hasn't said shit. That says enough. You know what I mean? That says no. If two girls ask you out that you're sort of into, and one you'd 1,000% say yes, and the other one you're like, I don't know, it's pretty obvious which one you want. You know what I mean? It's pretty obvious which one you want to go for and the one you should be with. So I feel like the fact that he hasn't said anything says everything.
yeah, dude, you make a perfect point. And I feel like deep down Hina probably knows that. And
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how she'll react, but at the same time, I think she knows this was like more about them like getting their feelings out there and trying to like in a way make themselves uncomfortable, but like face their feelings rather than like, end up in the perfect like romantic situation. But yeah, there's not a single situation in which Taiki's like really hesitated or doubted like his feelings for Chinatsu.
Mm-hmm.
Hina's never like been in the lead as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and you just feel bad because Tina's awesome. You know what I mean? Like she's so sweet.
Yeah,
But it's how the anime is gonna roll. It just is what it is. Sadly, she wasn't cast as the main girl, which just sucks. But it's gonna be interesting because, like I said, it's gonna be an absolute fucking train wreck until we get that confession. And from the sports side, I mean, that's popping off as well, and that seems so interesting. The fact that Haru won't play against Taiki is so funny. But again, I think it's kind of saying it all. Where the next time they play, Taiki's gonna beat Haru. It's finally gonna happen. So I hope Taiki is able to get some more experienced opponents they can play against, like to practice with. But I think Haru knows. Taiki surpassing him. It's happening. It's becoming a thing.
you're definitely right. And like this is, I guess, the second time like we've seen Taiki bring up that he wants to like kind of check himself, check his progress, and see how
Yeah.
like far he's gotten. But yeah, Haru won't play him because he knows Taiki's got next, and I think he still wants to keep that edge for as long as he can. But after we saw him take a game, I feel like it was only always like a matter of time before they meet again, and even if it's at like nationals next year or the qualifiers, I think Taiki does take it.
And the problem is, I get what Haru's doing, but I think it's incredibly fucking stupid. Because like, here's the thing: it's like
Yeah,
not only yeah, sure, you not playing against Taiki makes it so Taiki has to fight or compete against lesser opponents, right? Same thing with you. You know what I mean? Like your best opponent to practice against is Taiki because right now you're number one and he's number two. So like the problem is that you're also hindering your own strength, and at the same time, you both can make it to nationals. You know what I mean? If you sit there and you're like, all right, Taiki,
Exactly.
let's play against each other every single time and just keep competing, he can kind of make it so he can be strong enough to against Yusa. Because, I mean, Taiki already beat him. So all you have to do is just be better than Taiki and you can beat Yusa, you know what I mean? And then you both go to nationals and it's set. But the fact that he's also kind of like tying an arm behind his back because he's like, all right, I'm not going to go against Taiki because he's trying to hinder Taiki's, uh, like level gain. I don't know, like getting better, progress. That's the word. Jesus, went on a real roller coaster to find that one. Um, he's trying to hinder his progress. He's also hindering his own, where it's like you can just make it so you're both very, very good and you both make it to nationals.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. I think it does both of them just as much a disservice to not play each other.
Yeah,
And maybe like Haru will look back and like kind of regret that a little bit. Maybe if he had pushed himself or been less self-conscious about maybe losing to Taiki, that he could have done better. Assuming that that's how that plays out. You know what I mean? They meet
yeah.
nationals or he doesn't beat. He doesn't get there and Taiki does. However that plays out, but um, I definitely, I definitely think that'll be like a focal point. As we move past this arc and kind of the romance and stuff. The more sports side and badminton we get, I think we'll see more of Taiki kind of like being that next guy up or like that push for Haru because we've seen him beat Yusa and everybody knows Yusa's like the next big thing.
Yeah.
Well, Taiki's right there with him, so it would make sense for that to kind of be the way it goes.
And the thing is, too, just because he beat Yusa once doesn't mean he's going to do it again. You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah, it
because
was
he
super close.
Yeah, so like there's a definite chance where like Yusa is just gonna like outpace him and just get stronger than him in a faster amount of time and just be able to beat him next time. So I think that the sports side there's a lot still up in the air, which is gonna make it really interesting to see what happens, especially because too. I think I hope we're gonna be following Hina still, and hopefully we're gonna follow Chanatsu, even though that's a real big question mark because she can't go to nationals because of what grade she's in. So I'm really interested to see how we continue to follow that because I enjoyed following more than just the badminton. You know what I mean? So hopefully we still stay with all three.
Yeah, definitely. It's like that, the blend of all three, that kind of like makes
Mm-hmm.
it unique and entertaining. And that's what makes Blue Box like fun. You know what I mean? It's got like, tense moments, like you're rooting for them in sports, but at the same time, like the romance side of it. Hopefully they just kind of keep rolling with what they are. And I feel like there's enough manga out there and it's popular enough that that's probably the way it goes. So I'm definitely looking forward to more of it.
I hope so. I mean, we got like what? I think we have 2 or 3 episodes left. So I'm excited. That's why I also think that the confession is not going to happen next episode. It's like we just have way too much time. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do for two
Yeah.
more episodes? So I feel like something's going to happen. But I'm really interested to see how this season ends. It is a double season. We are have season back to back, season 1, season 2. So I mean, we've had a lot of content, and just having it all kind of come to a close, I feel like they're just going to deliver, and we're going to have something that just feels so satisfying. We're like, yes, this was awesome. This was it's kind of like with Frieren. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just built up and, through 20 some episodes been such a like an ascent, if you will, to this moment, this confession. I definitely think it'll be an awesome finale and like, yeah, just the ride to get there and kind of the drama that unfolds will be extremely entertaining.
Yeah. So I think that's it. Is there anything else you'd like to add? I mean, 3 phenomenal episodes that dropped. And to be fair, guys, again, we're gonna have a other like side episode at some point talking about the other lower keys like Zenshu and Honey Lemon Soda, Apothecary. Like, there's so many animes right now that are just absolutely fucking insane. I'm loving
Killing
it.
it.
But these three were amazing. Is there anything else you'd like to add about those three?
I mean, 3 phenomenal episodes of anime. I cannot
Mm-hmm.
wait to see what next week has. I feel like the next 2 weeks are really going to be something
Ah,
special.
it's sad that we're kind of coming to a close here with everything. Everything's just been delivering. It's just been phenomenal, just been so good. But it seems like we do have an insane year in store. So just enjoying it 1 week at a time. You know what I mean? Just enjoying what we got.
Yes. Yeah, dude, perfect way to put it. Each week has been incredibly entertaining and it's pretty crazy to think about. We're already at the end of the season. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Before you know it, July will be here and we'll be freaking out all over again. You know what I mean?
Hmm. I can't wait. It's going to be absolutely amazing, and we're just having a ton of fun with it. So we hope you guys are too. But that is it. We hope you guys are enjoying. Let us know in the comments down below what has been your favorite anime of this season. Honestly, I gotta say it's been Solo Leveling. You know, everything else has
Yeah,
been really, really good, but Solo Leveling is just a step above, and honestly, so far my front runner for Anime of the Year for 2025.
absolutely.
Yeah, see, is Solo Leveling your favorite too, or
100%.
yeah, it's
Every
gotta
week I'm
be.
like texting people about it. You're like shocked at the end of it, or you're like
Hmm.
anticipating next week. Solo Leveling definitely front runner for anime of the year for
I,
me
I,
too.
I will say this too: Solo Leveling towards the end of the season here has been insane with the cliffhangers at the end of each and every episode. It's just been like you suckers know how to drag us back for more. Like, goddamn.
Dude, even in like the end of season 1, like they
Mhm.
were leaving you with cliffhangers every time. It's like, dude, a hook, line, and sinker. They got me.
But anyway, guys, that is it. I guess for the rest of the week, and peace.